want to talk to you about the tying of all the different metabolism which you have studied in biochemistry. So many of you would have studied the different processes separately, like glycolysis, TCA, urea cycle, beta oxidation. All these are different topics, but you need to understand that everything is linked together in a specific way. So if you understand the big picture of what is happening in each and every cell in our body, then you will find it easier to remember and recall during your exam. So this would be the first image I would like to focus on. So I'll be tying in the protein, the carbohydrate and lipid metabolism. So you would be knowing that carbohydrates and lipids are going to provide you with energy, and proteins are going to give you the various nutrients needed for building up various components of the body. So the main components of carbohydrates and lipids are carbon chains, okay, and proteins is nitrogen. So around 5 to 6 carbons together will be in your carbohydrates. In lipids will be more than 20, 30, like that. And in proteins will have lots of nitrogen. So carbohydrates, your primary carbohydrate which you're going to study a lot about is glucose. Two other carbohydrates, monosaccharides, which you need to know about are your fructose and galactose. Metabolism of those two are also important. They're not shown in this picture, but they'll be integrated at the same metabolism. So as you can see, glucose is first phosphorylated to trap it inside the cell. Uh, Phosphate group is added to glucose so that it doesn't go back into the blood circulation. So that's the first step of carbohydrate metabolism. From here, it can go via glycolysis to form pyruvic acid, or it can be stored as glycogen. So these are the primary two main things what happens to glucose 6 phosphate. So this pyruvic acid is a very important molecule and is a midpoint of many metabolisms together. So why do I say this? Is pyruvic acid is converted into acetyl CoA. Now acetyl CoA can go into the TCA to provide energy via the electron transport chain, or excess acetyl CoA can go into lipogenesis to make fatty acids and then lipids and be stored in a body for later usage. Also, few amino acids, primarily glucogenic amino acids, can be converted into acetyl CoA, or they enter into different stages of the citric acid cycle and they help in energy production. And that would be the basic outline of the carbohydrate metabolism. So carbohydrates broken down into, it goes into pyruvate is converted into acetyl CoA, and acetyl CoA is the connecting link between amino acids, carbohydrates and lipids. So excess acetyl CoA goes into lipid lipid synthesis and storage of lipids. When you have less of acetyl CoA, proteins are broken down and glucogenic amino acids are converted to acetyl CoA, and they also are introduced. They enter into various stages of the citric acid cycle to produce energy. So about proteins, you already know that few of them are glucogenic and they help in producing energy when you have very less energy sources available. Second process would be all the development of different cellular organelles, your DNA. For all those, you're going to need your nitrogen bases, so they're going to come from your amino acids, and all the amino acids are going to be excreted via the urea cycle. So the amino acids have amino group. So this amino group cannot be excreted as ammonia. It's very toxic, so it's converted to a less toxic form, which is urea, and excreted by us. So that would be about your protein metabolism. And finally, moving on to your lipids. So when you have excess of lipids, if you have excess of acetyl CoA, it becomes lipids. And when you are less on energy, the lipids are broken down via beta oxidation to form acetyl CoA, and acetyl CoA again goes into the TCA and to produce energy. So a small recap would be, when you're well fed, carbohydrates are converted to pyruvate, then to acetyl CoA, and excess acetyl CoA is converted into lipids. When you are starving, new glucose is being formed via gluconeogenesis. There's going to be glucogenic amino acids which produce energy, and your fat storages will be broken down. So those three processes are going to happen when you are starving. So that would be about that picture. Then moving on, this is the same thing, just a more something which you can draw in the exam. So if you want to take a screenshot or something, just pause the video and take a screenshot of this. And the last thing would be, I told you about these glucogenic amino acids, so I just wanted to show you the various places where they enter into the um, how they produce energy by entering TCA or being converted into acetyl CoA. So the various glucogenic amino acids are your alanine, glycine, serine, threonine, then phenylalanine, tyrosine, tryptophan, then your histidine, arginine, methionine. All these are the various examples of glucogenic amino acids. Now there are a few ketogenic amino acids. So what this ketone bodies is, usually acetyl CoA has to enter the TCA to produce energy. So in places where you need to bypass this, because to go to the TCA you're going to need some energy, right? So when you don't have that much energy also and you need minimum energy, acetyl CoA takes another pathway known as ketone body metabolism. So what basically happens is, acetyl CoA gets converted into three different ketone bodies which can be used to produce energy. These ketone bodies do not enter the TCA cycle and they directly produce energy by transporting this acetyl CoA to different parts of the body for gluconeogenesis purposes also. So that would be your overall wipe up of the metabolism of carbohydrates, proteins, and lipids. I hope this is useful for you and it'll help you remember most of the points regarding different metabolism and processes